like Belinda Alexandra panicking about a deadline in her sweatsuit with cat fur all over her.
Started writing books because I loved it. I loved just creating a world and being in making my own characters up, and I love reading.
All sorts of things. What country could I go and live in?
It doesn't cost as much.
Good to meet you in person.
I know. I can't believe that this is the first time we've met in person. I feel like I've known you forever almost.
I know. And, one of the things we were saying earlier is that a lot of people think that social media is a really negative thing.
Which is where we met.
I know, but you live in Western Australia and I live in Sydney. So we really probably wouldn't have many chances to meet.
Yep.
But we met on social media. We liked each other's cats.
Yes.
We bonded over that.
How many cats have you got?
I've got 3.
That's right. I was about to say I've only got 1, but I actually have 2. But one of them is so shy. It stays in a room in our house all the time that I forget it's there.
It's a shadow cat.
Yeah. But no, I think we bonded over cats. We bonded over the pink theme.
Yeah,
which
pink.
We did not plan our wardrobe today.
No.
And the moment I walked into here and saw you, I just thought, wow, I love that outfit. And
I know, when I see another woman wearing pink, I feel like there's nothing that needs to be said. We're already going
agree.
to...
So pink, cats, books.
Yeah.
But as you said, we did meet through social media.
Yeah.
And you said, I think we were talking about before, how there's so many negative things.
Yeah.
Like, a lot about social media, but it's probably... And there's negative things as being an author because we could be tagged in bad reviews.
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever been tagged in a bad review?
No.
Maybe.
No.
You probably don't have any bad reviews, do you?
No, I would have plenty of bad reviews. In fact, what's the worst review you've ever been given?
The worst review I've ever heard is not my own. I won't say that one. But the worst review, I think it was for my book, The Patterson Girls. And it was something like, this book must have been written on pregnancy hormones. It's absolute rubbish or whatever. And, you're never supposed to respond, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
But I wanted to because I had not been pregnant or breastfeeding for 7 years.
That's
when
so
I wrote
demeaning
that.
and rude.
I know.
Just unbelievable.
But, what about you? What's the worst review you've had?
I can't remember the words because I've got this thing of blocking that kind of
Do you
stuff
read
out.
your reviews? Do you seek them out?
I have learnt to only read them a few months after a book has come out when you've got more balance.
Do you think you have more balance after a book comes immediately? I'm more likely to be upset if it's a new book.
Oh, no, I mean, I look at it as I'm starting to write my next one when there's more reviews there because the first ones will be all the people that love you anyway. And then
your mum, your friends, the publicist.
And then there'll be the people that are jealous and that's not balanced either. And also I get some trolls as well who deliberately will give one to books even in foreign languages and I think, you speak 5 languages as well and read my books and all of them.
I got a 1 for this before it had come out and before we'd done the proofread or the arc. And I'm like... Yeah, unless you've come onto my computer, you haven't read it.
No, you haven't read it. And that is a problem with Goodreads at the moment. But, I've just learnt that look at it in perspective because when you've got enough reviews, if people are saying the same thing, the end was too fast or something like that, then you can actually listen to it. Yeah. But if you're looking at it every day and focusing on every review.
I completely agree.
But I think the funniest one I ever got was Belinda Alexandra, the con woman, must be dipping her gold-tipped toes in her heart-shaped swimming pool and counting her diamonds or something like that.
This sounds like someone who wants to be an author themselves.
I know, and I thought, I wish I had gold-tipped toes.
I wish I was counting my diamonds. Yeah.
It's more like Belinda Alexandra panicking about a deadline in her sweatsuit with cat fur all over her.
It's deadlines. How do you feel about deadlines?
I feel awful when I read those perfect authors that say,
I've
never missed a deadline. And I've never hit one. And I think that, I've got the most patient publisher, Anna Valdinger.
Oh, she's lovely.
They work with you because sometimes, you have to, I think there's a balance. Like, it's a good thing to meet deadlines because it's considerate of everybody else, considerate of your publisher, considerate of the editor who has to be booked in. And so you do want to be considerate. And if it's already
scheduled, booksellers and stuff are expecting it and all that.
And everyone who's waiting for it. But at the same time, we have a reputation for our readers to give them the best book.
I completely agree, yeah.
And if it needs that bit of extra time, it's really not because I've been lying in my swimming pool with my gold tiptoes and my glass of champagne going to hell with deadlines or something like that.
It's because I've found that I think I've got slower as a writer the more books I write.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I think I probably met my deadlines a lot more in the very beginning when I had little kids who knows how I managed to write what I did actually. But now I'm a slower because I think I do think more about what I'm writing. And I feel like you've got almost a gut feeling when things are going wrong or right and I can't move forward. So I am behind on my book that was due last week. But it's because, I got to a point and I couldn't really move forward. And I was like, why can't I? I know how it's going to end. And then I realised the bit before was not right. It was sort of feeling really contrived. And I thought, I don't know about you, but I have to fix before. Some people can just write one draft and then go back and fix it then. Yeah. But I can't work like that. No. So, and sometimes it takes a few days of thinking. I agree with you. Like, obviously deadlines are important, but if you just, like, I say I could just write and get it done. I'm not actually sure I could. Yeah. Because some people seem to do that. But I have to feel what I'm writing to write. Yeah.
I agree with you. And I think also the thing that I find is that the story can be there, but the way to express the story is the thing that holds you
up. That's so true.
And you can sort of tell when an author has started 3/4 of the way through the book beautifully constructing their writing, and then the last third turns into a magazine article.
And then they all woke up.
And I think the ending, that you have to end well. Yeah. Sometimes you actually have to end well, because almost importantly as you begin.
Yeah, because that's what people take away. It's the feeling, and then they might go and look up when's your next book or what are your other books and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So no pressure. What are you working on at the moment then?
Well, I'm doing a proofread and then my next book will be due in September as well.
And how much have you done of that?
Well, I'm excited. I'm pretty well halfway through on that. But and I find it's the first half that is like, the ski slope. You're taking so long to get up. And
I feel like my whole book is a ski slope at the moment.
But what do you do when that happens? Do you call a friend, dial a friend, or just go into your own quiet panic and pretend everything's okay?
Yeah, I panic, definitely. And I think I'm not really very nice to live with for a couple of... And I don't know about you, I think I can't do it. This is it. Like, all the other things are a fraud. Yeah. And now I'm just... And I can't do anything else either anymore. So what am I going to do with my life? Like, it's a big existential crisis. But then I find, like, with each book, I still panic. But I also now know, and I try and tell myself this, because I went through a really dark patch a couple of years ago with my anxiety regarding writing, and I want to have fun with what I do. Yes. Right? And so I'm really a lot kinder to myself than I used to be in that sort of situation, and go exactly what you said. Oh, well, if it takes another few weeks and I need to just read something else, go for a walk for a couple of days, just think. I know I can't force it now, but I know if I just sort of let it simmer and think, then I think a better thing will happen and come in than if I just pushed on. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that I've really learnt, and it's really just this year, after a 20-year writing career, is the more fun I have, the better I write.
I completely agree.
And you can get to a point, especially when you're under a lot of pressure, and we both have a lot of family responsibilities.
Yeah. And cats.
And cats. But I think the family, as much as we love them, it's a lot of interruptions. And for me, it was being the carer for my elderly father.
Yeah, that's a lot of
meant that, I never knew what the day would bring.
And mental energy as well.
Yeah. The constant worry about them.
Yeah.
It's very hard to, relax and write.
That's so true.
But I think that it is important to just give yourself some grace and have some fun.
Yeah.
And lighten up a little bit.
Because why do we do this in the first place? That's what I have to remind myself as well. Like, so I started writing books because I loved it. I loved just creating a world and being in making my own characters up, and I love reading, and so that's why I do it. So if you're not having fun, let's face it, I could probably like go and do something else. I don't know what sometimes that way.
But I think we look at that at the end of our lives as well. Like, why do they take everything so seriously? Like, I think of myself as a teenager. Why were the things that were so serious then so serious? They're kind of ridiculous now. And
I was actually talking. Okay, sorry.
Oh no, you.
I was talking. I'm here in Sydney with some family actually, and I was talking to my auntie this morning, who's in her mid to late 70s, and she said something exactly like that because my cousin has a meeting at 4 a.m. in the morning tomorrow, and she has to get up for it. And my auntie said, "I just call in sick," but I wouldn't have 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I wish I know now that things don't matter as much as we make out.
In our heads, they matter a lot more. And we always think, because when I hear you, who I admire so much,
Ditto.
with your books and, your success, to hear that there's still that anxiety, there's still that self-doubt, it really just seems to be part of the process. Because when I was writing my latest book, The Masterpiece, which I think has probably turned out to be my best.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I was going, this is the worst book I've ever written.
I totally relate to that.
I'm going to have to give HarperCollins their money back. And what else will I do for a career? Pet grooming, all sorts of things. What country could I go and live in?
It doesn't cost as much.
Yeah.
So why do you think, because I find that sometimes the books that I have struggled with the most and not liked when I've finished, they're the ones that readers resonate with more, and they go, "Oh, that was my favourite book of yours," and I'm like, "Really? Were you on drugs? Were you drunk when you read?"
Yeah.
But why do you
I think for me with The Masterpiece, because I was doing more ambitious things, and I was, instead of doing a similar thing to the thing that I'd done in the past, I was upping the level.
So do you reckon it was fear, and a fear of failure, and fear that you're not getting?
Maybe someone else should be writing this book because I can't match this new ambition of mine.
Yep.
But
I'm almost so excited to read it now.
But I think it's the gap. It's the gap between where we start and we think it's going to be like this accomplished thing easily, but it's a mess.
So true. And I think when you first get an idea, you haven't ruined the idea yet. And it's in your head only.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this is the best. This is going to be amazing. This is the best book I've ever written. And then you start doing it and it doesn't transfer and you're reading it and you're going, well, why can't it just go from here to the page? And there's so much doubt. But do you know any authors that don't doubt while they're like?
No, all the good ones have a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm always surprised to hear them. And I have read authors' books who I thought, that's the best book you've ever written.
Yeah. Don't you reckon this career is not good for your health?
No, but I'm actually thinking that I love historical fiction and I love writing it, but I think I have to at some time in my life switch to comedy because historical fiction can give you a very dark view of the human race.
That's really interesting. So do you think because you've written non-fiction?
Yeah, I have. I think I've got a lot of comedy in me.
Yeah.
And so even if not for books, I'd love to write comedy TV as well. Like I keep up the historical fiction because I do love it.
And your readers would be disappointed.
Yeah, I know. I won't keep going for them. But I just think, it's what we do is pretty screwed up too.
So, it's not just historical fiction that's dark. I mean, I suppose, but it's the being by yourself and kind of writing and like you're so much in your own headspace all the time, I think, with writing. So I feel like it's not the healthiest place to be physically. Yeah. But also the doubts and the constantly sort of berating yourself and saying this is not good enough, this is not good enough is a sort of a dark kind of place to be. But what do you mean also with, I mean, in the things that you've experienced in your writing historical fiction, like what dark things have threatened you kind of thing?
Well, especially when you're dealing with things like the Holocaust.
Yeah.
You're just reading over about how horrific people can be.
So you just like watching the news today.
And yes, I know, I suppose and it just sort of, what people are capable of, I think quite scary. And in fact, for that reason, I don't watch the news.
Yeah, I actually don't watch much either.
The problem with that is I'm always confused about what's time
going
period.
On.
I've quite often written 1923 or 1924.
Oh, you mean like when you're supposed to be writing the date now?
Dates,
You're back in the past.
Yeah, I'm stuck there in the past.
I
But
wonder if people who write futuristic books
write
the date the wrong.
Yeah, I wonder. But you do live in that world, and you do live with your fictional characters
and what they're going through.
Yeah,
it can weigh you down
that's right.
too.
Yeah, I'm very careful about writing in first person.
Yep.
I didn't write.
Have you done it?
I do, yeah, for quite a few of my books.
Yep.
But in this last book, The Masterpiece, the really dark things that happen, I wrote in third person.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And the lighter part of the book I wrote in first person.
Wow.
Because my good friend Jane Tara told me that be careful not to manifest what you're writing about. Oh. So if I don't want something to happen to me, I write it in third
I'm going to
person.
remember that, because I was sitting there thinking this morning about my next book, because, as I said, we're always like doing one.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that there's what way will I go? There was 3 things that could happen to this person, and one of them was really dark, actually. And I'm like, is that too dark for the type of book I write as well? But I never even thought about the having to experience that sort of stuff. Yeah. No, that's really interesting.
Yeah. And so it looks like we're going to have to wind up. So I think we get to show our handbags.
Oh, we have to show our handbags.
Yeah.
Yes,
and,
because we just love our pink and fashionable hat
and the
things.
umbrella. So good. Well, anytime you come to Sydney, if you've decide that you've got an event and you don't have any clothes, you can
come to, and if same to you if you ever come to Perth.
Thank you. We won't need suitcases.
No, that's true.
Yeah, well, lovely to talk to you.
Give
Rachel.
your cats a hug for me.
I will, and yours too.